This morning, a tanker full of gas caught fire at the gates of the Persian Gulf. By the afternoon, Washington armed the one ally that Israel begged it not to arm. One day, two signatures on the same message. In this world order, everything is for sale, and loyalty is not the currency. Welcome back. On this channel, we don't read the headline. We read what the headline is protecting. Last week, we mapped the auction, every power billing Washington instead of fighting it. This week, the auction stopped being a metaphor. A price list went public in Ankara. A hidden seller sat in Tehran. And the whole thing runs on one fuel line that somebody just shot at. Let me show you the board. Start at the water, because the biggest story of the day is floating in it. A Qatari gas tanker, the Al Raqayyat, was hit today near the Strait of Hormuz. Drone or missile. Fire on deck. It's the first strike on Gulf shipping since the ceasefire deal was signed in June. 60 days, reopen the strait, ease the sanctions. That clock runs out in mid-August. So whoever fired at that tanker wasn't aiming at a ship, they were aiming at the agreement. And here's the detail that tells you who holds the cards. Iran isn't just guarding the strait anymore, it's charging tolls on it, and China gets the discount rate. Iran's own chief negotiator said it out loud. Hormuz is, quote, our greatest power tool. Gulf oil is still 40% below pre-war levels. Insurance on a tanker adds up to $8 a barrel. One burning ship keeps all of that alive. The ceasefire didn't get violated today. It got tested. And nobody has claimed the shot, which means everybody gets to profit from the fear. Now to Ankara, where the same lesson got signed in ink. Israel asked America to stop an arms deal. America signed it, with Israel watching. Netanyahu went on television twice in 48 hours begging Trump, don't put F-35s next door to us. Don't arm Erdogan. Trump's answer came on day one of the summit. Turkey comes back into the F-35 program, plus a $700 million engine deal to sweeten it. The most loyal ally asked, the most leveraged ally got paid. Because look at what Erdogan holds. The drones the whole alliance depends on, the only working channel into Tehran, and the summit's own front door. Loyalty is a feeling, leverage is a fact. And around that one deal, the money told you everything. $12 billion in defense contracts signed at this summit alone. Britain, £300 billion over 4 years. Germany, 200 billion euros by 2030, with the state buying into the tank makers directly. Europe's defense stocks up 17% in a few weeks. The market isn't pricing an alliance, it's pricing an auction. And the seller at the center of it all? Nobody has seen him. Here is the strangest fact on the entire board. Iran has had a new supreme leader for 4 months, and there is not one photo of him, not one video, not 1 second of audio. Mujtaba Khamenei was installed in March, days after the strike that killed his father, pushed through by the Revolutionary Guard, with 8 members of the assembly boycotting the vote. The reports say his face was disfigured in that strike, his legs injured. At his own father's funeral this week, his 3 brothers prayed beside the coffin. He wasn't there. So who's running Iran? A committee that refuses to say its own name. Ghalibaf runs the negotiations. The judiciary chief got quietly reappointed in the middle of the funeral. The guard runs the streets and the tolls. And in the crowd, being seen, being filmed, Ahmadinejad, the old showman stepping back into frame. When a throne sits empty long enough, the funeral becomes an audition. Now watch one date, July 9th, the burial in Mashhad. If the new leader misses his own father's burial, then the hidden leader isn't a mystery anymore. He's the system. Meanwhile, the war in Europe has turned into a duel of fuel lines. The same weekend Putin and Trump agreed to, quote, talk again soon, Russian missiles and drones killed more than 30 people in Kyiv, the deadliest strike this year. Time to the night before the summit. 3rd time the pattern repeats. Peace call, then massacre. That's not a contradiction. That's pricing. And Kyiv's defense minister said the quiet part. They're running out of Patriot interceptors. But here's what Moscow's state TV won't say. Ukraine hit Omsk this week, Russia's biggest refinery, 3,000 kilometers deep in Siberia. That's strike number 194 on Russian refineries this year, 11 times more than last year. 1/3 of Russia's refining capacity is down. All 83 regions are rationing fuel. And according to the Financial Times, American intelligence is helping route those drones past Russian air defenses, while Washington brokers the, quote, peace. One more crack in the wall: Belarus. Lukashenko's drone relay stations went dark 2 weeks ago, right after one public ultimatum from Zelensky. Putin's cheapest ally just showed his price ceiling. So read the Russia board honestly. Putin is raising his price in blood, and Ukraine is burning his gas money, with quiet American help on both sides of the table. Then, in the middle of summit week, China raised its bid and accidentally showed its hand. A ballistic missile fired from a nuclear submarine into the South Pacific. First test like it in decades. Japan got 90 minutes warning. The region got none of the reassurance. Last week, Beijing's bid was a freed pastor, goodwill at zero cost. This week, it's a missile arc over the Pacific. China watched what leverage bought Turkey and repriced. But here's the tell the analysts caught. The missile was the JL-2, the old one, not the new long-range JL-3. When you stage a show of strength and reach for the older weapon, you're advertising your ambition and your bottleneck in the same launch. The neighborhood repriced anyway. Taiwan went into 5 days of combat drills and put 210 billion Taiwan dollars into drones. The Solomon Islands, Beijing's own friend, said, quote, not something a friend does. And Australia signed a mutual defense treaty with Fiji the same day. One missile, an entire ocean rearmed itself. 2 more fuses are burning quietly under all of this. Gaza. Hamas dissolved its government this week after 19 years, handing administration to a UN-backed committee. But it kept its weapons. Governance handed over, guns kept. That's not peace, that's intermission. Only 1% of the $17 billion pledged for reconstruction has actually arrived. And Damascus. 2 bombs went off during Macron's visit, near his hotel, right as Syria's new leadership signs reconstruction deals with the West. The message to every investor in the new Syria: rebuilding is now a battlefield too. And if you want the honest version of this week, skip the speeches and read the money. Oil at $73, half its wartime peak, but only because the ceasefire holds. Brazil now sends 60% of its oil to China. To America, 0. Congo's cobalt is locked in shortage until 2030, and the mines are getting an armed guard, paid for by Washington and Abu Dhabi. The money has stopped believing in one world market. It's building 2, and arming both. So put the whole board together. The auction now has a public price list. F-35s for leverage, contracts by the billion. It has a hidden seller, a leader nobody has seen, in a country run by a nameless committee. And it has one fuel line, Hormuz, that somebody shot at this morning. One lesson runs through every story. Leverage beats loyalty. Israel, the closest ally America has, was overruled in public. Every capital took the note. And here's the second-order effect, the one that decides the next decade. When allies learn that loyalty doesn't pay, they stop buying it. They buy leverage instead. Their own drones, their own missiles, their own back channels. That's how an order actually decays. Not when its enemies defect, when its friends start hedging. So watch 5 things. July 9th, Mashhad. Does the hidden leader appear at his father's burial? The summit communique. Does Iran get named at all? Or did Erdogan's leverage buy that too? The tanker. Who claims it, who denies it, and whether more ship gets hit. Mid-August. The ceasefire clock runs out and the talks are already suspended. And the next Putin-Trump call. Count the hours to the next massacre. That's the pattern now. An auction rewards the highest bidder, not the oldest friend. This week, every ally of the United States learned what loyalty trades at on the open market. Nothing, unless it comes with leverage attached. The summit photo will show 32 leaders smiling. 32 leaders doing the same quiet math. The board moves every day, and we read it every day. Subscribe and see the pieces before they move. Like this if it made the board click. I'll see you tomorrow.